Well, hey, welcome everybody to another episode of Tech Tip Tuesday. My name's Ken Close, Healy World member here in the USA and engineer, lover of Tech Tip Tuesday and the Healy. Thanks guys for being here. I am joined by an awesome co-host, Jake Barron, head of operations for Americas. Hey, Jake, how you doing?
Hello, Ken. Good evening, everyone.
Thanks for being here. And we have a live support agent from our customer service department. Henry tonight is helping us out with the magic fingers answering questions in the background. Hey, Henry, tell
Thank
Henry
you,
hello.
Henry, for being here.
Thank you for being here. And you guys that are on the East Coast, it's what 8 p.m. for y'all. It's 5 p.m. here. So I'm super appreciate the dedication from our corporate team and all the support we get from this call. So you guys have the best support. So let me tell you a little bit. If you haven't been to Tech Tip Tuesday before, well, I'm super glad you're here. Welcome. This is a chat-based forum, and we come in and use all of our knowledge, all of our expertise, all of our experience to answer the questions you guys might come up. So you put your questions in the chat, and we will unpack them. Henry in the background is adding content and answering questions as well. So what we can't do though is, guys, we can't talk about any kind of disease, disorder, diagnosis, or any specific programs for specific illnesses. We just can't do that. We're not medical professionals, but we can sure talk about the technology, the apps, how they work, any theories you might want to clear up. I don't know, even if you have questions about the application itself, the apps and that kind of thing. So we are happy to get those questions answered for you. So let's get this party started. You guys go ahead and throw some questions in the chat, and we'll start unpacking things. So Laura's already saying, hey, I see that the Telegram group was renamed. Well, yeah, now we're kind of expanding from Team Healy USA to Team Healy Americas, right? So we got Canada and Mexico, and it's super great that we're expanding like that. When that Telegram group was put together, it was actually at one point a group in which you could comment in, and people were just jumping in there so they could get some support or some understanding or some community with Healy. And we had to stop that because it got really popular really quick and a lot of stuff going on. And so now it's just an information highway to present content to you guys. And so now, and there's some admins in there to try to help police up who goes in there, that kind of thing. It really is designed for the Americas. Of course, you understand that the reason for that is because we post things about specials and any kind of promos and things like that that may only apply to this demographic. So, but of course, we got people in there from all over the world and folks joining this call and the calls that we do from all over the world. Why? Well, because the Americas does it awesome, right?
That's right.
All right.
While we're waiting here, maybe it's a good time to sort of give a preview of what we're going to cover on Healy for Beginners and Beyond on Thursday.
Yep, absolutely. By the
So,
way, that's
yeah,
this week, guys. This week.
yeah,
Yeah.
hold on a second here. Okay. So I'll just share my screen for just a minute here so I see some questions there, but let me go ahead and just share this real quick. So yes, this Thursday, 3 p.m. Eastern time, Healy for Beginners and Beyond. Ken will be there. Henry will be there as well, helping out in the chat. But we are gonna go back to the basics to start the new year. It's been a while since we kind of did an overview of the core functions of Healy, and a lot has changed. Remember, Healy for Beginners and Beyond started, I think, over 2 years ago now. But we every week, every month, we would always do an unboxing. Open it up, show what's in there, the very very basics, and we kind of cover one other topic along with it, whether like a certain app that we would focus on as well. And our resources are a lot better now than when we were doing this. There's a lot more resources that you can access on your own. So we're going to cover some of those things, like when you first get a device, whether you're brand new or been with Healy for a while, this will be a great refresher on some of these things too. Maybe pick up some things that you weren't aware of, but we'll kind of show the best way to get started. We'll do the full detailed unboxing, just point out a few key things related to when you first get your device. The core functions, Ken does an amazing explanation of, because one of the most popular questions that we get is, I have these electrodes, I have the coil, and then I heard you can vibrate frequencies. Well, what's the difference between all these things? And when you might want to use some versus the others. A quick overview of how to determine which programs to run, because of course we have the Heal Advisor search module, we have the Analyze app, which will do an analysis and give you programs to run as well. Then you're also kind of your own intuition as far as what might be best for you. And then, common questions like, how do you know which intensity to is right for yourself? Because what's right for you isn't necessarily what's right for somebody else. And then also how to change the current on your device from low current to high current, because your Healy arrives at low current by default, and we'll explain why, and then also where you go to do that. And then, just a simple test on how to check your electrodes and connection cables. Ken, you've done that many times on Tech Tip Tuesday. It's very, very simple, but it's very helpful if you suspect you might have an issue with one of your cables, or the electrodes or wristbands. And then how to properly switch between the apps as far as hard closing, and and where to get help for troubleshooting and support. Of course, we have Tech Tip Tuesday, we have our live chat, we have the actual support center where you can submit a ticket, we have our YouTube channel, Healy Academy. There's tons of places now to go to get support. So we'll go through all those things. We'll try to keep it to an hour. I think if we're efficient with all our time, we'll get the most that we can into an hour, and it's something that you'll be able to reference for a long time to come, review it, or if anyone new in your team joins, it'll be a great resource as well. So looking forward to seeing as many of you on that call as possible on Thursday. And we actually are going to have translation into Spanish as well on that call. So I know a lot of people from our team in Mexico will be joining too. So it'll be a lot of fun on Thursday. Please join us.
I love it. It's going to be fun. Yeah. Every time we do some kind of training, it's like, it's another tool, right? And I'm always referring people to stuff that we've done. So, all right. Let's see. Well, here's a question. So Lindley's asking, with both new updates that you've lost your client's history. Is there any way that can be fixed? So again, the new version of the Heal Advisor, your clients and content stays there. When you migrate over, you have that option to migrate that information, but all of the scans and such are not part of that migration.
Yeah, and I'm wondering, because we had an update last week to 2.2.0, and unfortunately that did cause some issues for a select number of people where they couldn't fully run some of the analysis, or they couldn't access some of the databases. But our app development team put out a new release yesterday, version 2.2.1, which fixed that issue. So if anyone's still experiencing any sort of issue with their Analyse 2 app, you can just go ahead and delete that app and then do a full install. Go straight to the App Store, make sure you have the most recent version 2.2.1, and install that. And that should, from the reports we've gotten back, it's fixed it for every single person that had that issue. So if you're still having that issue, for Lindley's, I'm wondering if there's an issue. So everything is saved to the cloud. So if every time you're doing a reinstall or update, there's something not set right with your settings to where they're not storing in the cloud. So I would want to know what the settings are currently checked, or if it's possibly running in demo mode, which doesn't save to the cloud. That's another possibility as well.
And if you upgraded from the original version, Healy Advisor 1 to Healy Advisor 2, that's another, that migration is, we only get the client list, right, Jake? I mean, that we didn't get all those scans from that.
Yeah, yeah, that's
But
right.
if you created stuff in this new version, it should still be in your cloud. All that content, it's remember, it's not stored on the app itself. Unless you're in demo mode, then it is stored on the app. But when you shut it down or take it out of demo mode and go back into your own account, all that's erased. So, yeah, like Jake said, if I'm sure you're familiar with whether it's in demo mode or not, and or if you've done an update recently, it should still be there. So deleting,
Yeah,
like, go ahead.
unfortunately, if they weren't saved, for some situations like they were possibly in demo mode, something like that, we can't pull things or make things appear from the cloud itself. So there's very limited as far as our tech team, as far as being able to get those kind of things back for you. So, but it's important to figure out why this is happening so it doesn't happen going forward with any future updates too. So we'd want to make sure everything is set up properly and it's running in the correct mode.
You can submit a ticket, and then that way tech support could take a look at your account too.
Yeah.
Just there is something odd, but if you have, remember, an update if you haven't opened your Blue app for a while, because every time you open it, it does an update, right? It does a download and does an update. But if you haven't actually recycled any of that, you may not have saved things to the cloud. If somebody just keeps that app open all the time, I guess that might be a condition, and have not saved anything. I wonder if that would be the only way you could not have client lists and content in your cloud. And if you deleted it or something went wrong with the app, you delete it and they didn't upload in the first place. But other than that, it all should be there.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So Trudy's asking, can my coaching program be transferred to a different Healy on a different account? The Healy with the coaching program no longer is working. And the answer to the ticket was to purchase a new Healy because it has been 2 years. I've already spent thousands. Okay, so we need to dig into that answer, or actually the interpretation of that answer, because the coaching module, I mean, a 2-year-old Healy will still run a coaching module.
Yeah. So I think the key part here is, yes, you can transfer the coaching module, but it has to be a Healy on your account. It can't be transferred. I can't transfer the coaching module from my account to Ken's account. It has to be a Healy device on my own account. So that was probably why the answer back to you was, if your Healy's out of warranty and you want it to still be able to use the coaching module, in that case, you would need to purchase a new Healy. But if you have more than one device on your account, you can certainly transfer it from one device to the other. So if you do have access to another device on another account, whatever that account is, that person can submit a device transfer request to transfer that device to your account. And at that point, you'll have 2 devices on your account, and then you can transfer that coaching module from the one that's no longer working to the new one that was just transferred to your account.
I would be really interested to know why this Healy, the original Healy, is not working. What has happened? I mean, is it not charging?
Yeah.
Is it is it not turning on? What's exactly going on? If you can maybe put some more comments in there, I'd love to know a little bit more, Trudy, about what that is. But the Healy itself, the hardware, you don't have to spend thousands to get new hardware. If so something is wrong and your Healy is out of warranty, and it's you've ran over it with a truck, whatever, it's no longer any good, you can still get the hardware for a lot less money, just to replace the hardware. So your account, everything about your account is still active on this new piece of hardware, right? The Healy hardware, this little guy right here, can be replaced. And then this essentially is the bridge to your account and all the functions that the apps have. So you could get a new one. It doesn't cost thousands. You know, and that would be something through customer service could help you out. She says that I have, let's see, I have one for business and one for personal use. The green light flickers and does not turn off. Okay. So that's kind of the part. If when this green light that's on these guys, you have two lights, right? The blue light flashes because it shows you have Bluetooth connection between the Healy hardware and your app. The green light has a few functions in its communications. The way it communicates with you is that you know, 5 rapid flashes and then stops means that the battery level or the voltage in the battery is too low for it to run. Okay, so that means it's a dead battery. It needs to be charged. So flash, 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 and then it stops. And that's a 2 flash per second kind of rate. Now, when you turn the device on and the green light just flashes steady at a 1 flash per second rate, that means it's active and or running a program. So it means it's active and you can either, you've already sent, well, it already has a program and it's running. Okay, it just means it's active and running. When the Healy is connecting to an app and you're transferring a program to the Healy, from the app to the Healy, that same green light flashes at that 2 flashes per second rate, but continues to flash, 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 flash. And that sounds like kind of like what you're describing right there, that it flashes, the green flashes, flickers, and then it doesn't stop. Okay. Well, if it's literally not stopping for like the entire time it's on, that's an indication that it's receiving content or some program. It definitely is a problem if it's not having any data being transferred to it. Definitely a problem within the Healy. But I would be really interested to know now, based on my description, the number of flashes and the rate of flash, right? What does that mean? Now, let me tell you another thing that you can do. What I would highly recommend is you plug the Healy in, press and hold the start button for 20 seconds. Just press and hold it. Right? That's going to reset the Healy while it's plugged in, and then just let it be. Let it charge. See if it will charge and the green light goes off. All right. Then unplug it and attempt to operate again. That's kind of a full reset. And you may find success there. I don't want you to say it doesn't work when maybe it's just something we can overcome, right? Let's give it a try. You can even try it while you're on the call right now. Plug it in, press and hold that button, 20 seconds. You're going to see the green light. You'll see it at a certain brightness, but somewhere around, I don't know, 15 seconds or 20 seconds, you'll see that green light kind of shift or flash to a different intensity. That means it's reset, then leave it alone. You can test the function of the Healy at that point by maybe opening your Heal Advisor app and see if it will connect to the Healy while it's plugged in. And then we can do some more talking about that. Okay. Looks like Marty had a question.
Yeah, this is one of the things that we'll cover in more detail on Healy for Beginners and Beyond on Thursday. But you know, one of the certainly most common questions: when to use the coil versus the electrodes. It says, please correct me if I'm misunderstood. You once said to use the coil above weights and the electrode. What was the weights? Maybe that was a misspelling there, but or weights and electrodes. But yeah, and thank you, Henry, for putting that answer, the great answer, into the chat here as far as the difference. But yeah, the main thing is with the coil, you're not getting any of the benefits of microcurrent, and of course, that's one of the main reasons why people do like to use, as Ken's got his hooked up there. I got mine hooked up here as well, getting those benefits of the microcurrent in there. When you're using the coil, it is more convenient, but it operates in a different method, but you're not getting those same benefits. So it's not a replacement, it's a different way to use your Healy device and benefit in different ways versus being connected with the cables themselves.
You know, and we are going to cover this in depth. But there's essentially there's like three levels of implementation that Healy uses. One is the bioenergetic field. This is quantum entanglement, right? This is very specific to a person, a client, right? This is how we work with the Heal Advisor Analyze. Another one is magnetic infusion or just a magnetic pulse, right? Let's just call it like a radio signal from the radio station to your body, right? And your body is the receiver. And that's done with the coil. So the coil takes the electron flow or the current flow or the microcurrent, converts it into a magnetic pulse, and it goes omnidirectionally into the atmosphere of wherever it is. So it's not really linked to a human or a person or a thing. It's just doing its job. Now, of course, we typically would wear it on our body so that we would collect that energy, right? Now, the electrodes or the wristbands and the wires, now we are unique to one body, right? We're connected to this body, and all of that energy is going to only me because I'm the one connected to the wires. And that's a microcurrent infusion. And microcurrent has a ton of studies around the effectiveness on ATP production and amino acid transport, protein synthesis, all that. It's a huge increase. So those are kind of those three different modalities. And we'll talk more about that on Thursday. Hopefully that'll entice you to be there. All right.
Yeah.
And also Henry makes a good point about Trudy's question to transfer the coaching module. The coaching module is, as Jake said, transferable. If the coaching module wasn't part of, like if you purchase it separate, but if you purchase the coaching module, it's kind of like your package to move around to a different serial number.
Yeah.
But if it came with a specific serial number because you bought a professional or something like that, and you can't actually put it onto, say, a resonance, right? Or some other device.
Yeah.
Right?
So I think she's probably good because she's mentioned that her device is more than 2 years old, so it's probably one of the
Okay.
original ones where the coaching module didn't exist at the time. At least I think. But yeah, definitely our support team can clarify that for sure. If you wanted to submit
Yeah.
a support ticket or ask via live chat as well tomorrow.
And that's true because you would have like an invoice or a sale on your account that showed
Yeah.
that you own the coaching module separately. I do. I mean, I have professionals that have the coaching module, but then I also I bought the coaching module because there was a smoking deal on it, right? Which means I could transfer it to any one of my Healys and have it there as well, as long as it's, of course, resonance and above. Okay. So Trudy says it only flickers when plugged in. Okay. And I'm going to ask you to try another thing. And here's why, because the connection where we plug in our charging cord, I mean, over the years, it can get abused. And so if we take a brand new cord and we plug a brand new cord in there, it tends to be a tighter fit because the flickering, a lot of times the flickering is because it's just a loose fit and it's on off is what's happening, or it may even oscillate in terms of intensity of that green light. And that means that current flow is not consistent. In other words, the charging flow is not consistent. And so there are ways to get a new cord, plug it in, and see if you can get that light to be on steady. And if you can, then that means there's some connection problems in the charging port. Yeah, there's ways to kind of maybe clean those out, but it's really kind of touchy. Sometimes it is better to get new hardware. And especially if, I mean, I am hard on my equipment. I take my Healy in the shop when I'm working on a race car. I mean, I might be welding. I'm telling you, I'm a fabricator. I'm an engineer. I build almost anything. And literally, I'll take this Healy, I'll put it down my shirt while I'm making something out of metal. I'm welding, I'm grinding, I'm in a bunch of dirt and dust and whatever. But
Yeah.
they're tough. They're tough, but they do break.
Okay, thank you for mentioning the part about the cable, because yeah, there was actually, I think it was last week, someone on our tech team reported that someone changed the micro USB cable that they were using for their Healy device, and that fixed the issue they were having with the charging. So it was an issue with the cable itself, and you can get these cables anywhere for a couple dollars on Amazon. You can get longer cables if you want one. But yeah, that's a possibility as well. If you try a different charging block, try a different cable as well. A lot of times you might have other micro USB to USB-A cables laying around the house. So many devices use that that charging standard there, and there's everyone has one of those drawers where there's just a bunch of miscellaneous cables. Check in there, and maybe you have one, and you can try a different cable as well without even having to buy a new one.
I call that my tech junk drawer.
Yeah.
I got a bunch of those. But again, if you guys knew, if you looked inside of these, like it's a micro USB, so the word already should give you indication. It's small, it's tiny. And if you look at the actual connections, they're very, very small. And in digital electronics, or even in what we call low voltage electronics, and these are charged by a 5-volt DC power supply, and it's essentially considered low voltage. So even dust, by the way, dust, lint, like I said, I have this in my shirt pocket sometimes, or in my coat pocket, and it gets lint in there. Dirt, dust, lint, all that kind of stuff can compromise that connection, and then you get flickering, or you get no charge, or whatever. It won't connect, right? It won't transfer energy. So take a peek. Okay, where are we? Okay, so Vernice says here, there's a client that got an error message saying, do you want to buy additional database for this client while using the Analyse 2 app? So when she tried to send the PDF results to the client, then was nothing there to send. She's never deleted her clients list as she exceeded her database allotment and needs to delete clients history list. So if you got a message about do you want to buy additional database? So it's possible. I don't, if you've got just the friends and family pack with the analysis, then you get a certain number of what is it, 5? You get 5 clients.
Yeah, so that is a what would be a possibility, but that actually hasn't gone live yet. Everyone's still operating under the unlimited plan, so I don't think that that's probably what happened here. And Henry just mentioned in the chat that maybe this was part of the issue that people were experiencing last week up until yesterday, related to the databases and the version 2.2.0. So yeah, go ahead and make sure they have installed the newest update from yesterday, 2.2.1. And there's probably a good possibility that will fix this issue that they were experiencing.
And there's a process too, by the way. I want to caution you guys to look at what's running in the background while you're using your Healy apps. How many of you guys close every app when you open a new one? How many? Anybody? I bet you have 10, sometimes 5, maybe 7 or 8 apps open at once. So I recommend that you go in there and just hard close everything. Just hard close. If you're going to be using your Healy, especially like doing an analysis with your clients, shouldn't you be present? Well, so should your device. Your device should be present. And by the way, when you have all these other apps open in the background, it's doing things that are not present to the Healy operation. So in other words, like it's checking your email, it's downloading WhatsApp messages, it's updating the Facebook notifications. If all those apps are open, that's what it's doing. So you need to shut that stuff down. Shut that stuff down. Let the Healy operate with a clean slate with just those apps. Okay. I tell you, it's going to eliminate a lot of like time delays or screen glitches or just various things. Okay. All right. And one of the easiest ways too, by the way, is deleting an app and going back to your app store and reinstalling it. That gives you but before you reinstall, before you go to your app store and reinstall, anytime you delete any app on your smart device, shut your smart device completely off. All right, shut it all the way off, because that allows the smart device or the CPU to defragment and reallocate all of the things that used to be attached to the old app. Okay, so then you get kind of a clean slate. Then you pull in the new app with a clean slate, and you're going to function a lot better. Okay. Let's see. So what do we got? Rachel says, hi, Ken and Jake. So my question is about percentage, specifically negative percentages. There are two places where I find this incident occurring. When you run the frequencies in the pink app, sometimes the percentage is the negative 99% example. And in the coaching module, sometimes the percentage that represents the priority and urgency of a pattern is negative. So two different reasons. Okay. And these are distinct differences. And I want you guys to this is a great question, by the way. Thank you for this. So when you're running the pink app and you're running the microcurrent, the first section of the microcurrent, about, 8 minutes, is essentially establishing a connection with you, looking at what you need in terms of specific frequencies based on the purpose of the program. All right. So let's say you're running, my fitness page special muscle. All right. I love that one. So let's say you're running muscle. So the first 8 minutes, it's connected to you and it is evaluating you to find the most effective frequencies for the purpose of that program, AKA muscle. So if you and I ran the same program at the same time and we looked at the frequencies, it's going to be different because we're different bodies, right? Different space and time and all the concepts of how to build the muscle within my body versus yours. So first 8 minutes is evaluating. Then it chooses a very specific, the programs for just you or just me, whoever is attached to, and then implements those programs or those frequencies, implements those frequencies. Now we start with the evaluation phase, or I should say the progress phase. So it's starting to implement, give you those frequencies, and then it's constantly looking at you in terms of progress. So your scale of progress is from negative 99% to positive 99%. That's called the progress that your body is in resonance with the frequency. Okay, so if you really need this frequency, in other words, your body's completely depleted, you're going to be at negative 99. You're going to be at the very end of the scale. And when you come up to being just essentially in balance, not even full, but only kind of in balance, because negative means you're really depleted. Your systems associated with that frequency is specifically communicating with is very depleted in its energy and in its cell membrane voltage, right? Or not even just that, but just its energy form. So it's going to start charging you up like a battery in your car, right? You put the battery cables on there, and it starts to charge you up. If a battery is completely dead, it's going to be negative 99%. As it starts to charge you up, it goes to positive 99%. When it gets to that positive, usually you don't even see 99. When it gets all the way up and the progress is at 96, 98, by the time that same frequency comes back around the rotation, you know how it's cycling through these frequencies, right? By the time it gets back there, your body's fully charged. It knocks that frequency out of the rotation. You won't see it again. So when you're at basically 99% positive, you're in full resonance with the frequency. It kicks it out of the routine. Healy does not give you what you don't need. It doesn't. You're done. Now, different though from the coaching or say the analysis programs, when you see a negative number, a negative percentage, that's designed to be what we're not aware of. It's kind of in the subconscious, right? It's kind of in the background. So the foreground is all positive content, consciousness, more things around what we are aware of. Negative is more subconscious background. Even some of the things that might be associated with past, way past, you know. So they are distinctly different. And there's actually you can click on those little tidbits in there and they kind of expand, right? Jake, you want to expand on that?
Yeah, I wasn't going to actually show that, but there's a video in Academy that explains exactly what Ken just said there. So I'll share my screen again just to show you where to go. But go to Academy, go to the Healy Advisor Analyze app section, and then scroll down. There's a settings menu, and then this video here, there's a section. It talks about the advanced settings, and there's a negative relevancies, and it basically. Can you hear that right now, Ken, or no?
I don't hear anything.
Okay. I don't think I shared the
The audio.
sound when I was sharing. Let me just go back for just a second. It's just a couple seconds long here, this section, but it's worth. Let me go back. Screen share. Okay, share sound. Okay, here we go.
Because only the relevance is shown there. The next option, Include Negative Relevancies, means that entries with negative relevance will be displayed in the results as well. Negative relevance usually indicates topics in the unconscious personal realm, whereas positive relevance is more likely to indicate topics in the conscious realm. If you enable the
Nope, kicked it out.
Yeah, no, so it was a short clip there on that section there, but yeah, there's a whole video there on the advanced settings section of the Analyze 2 app.
I love this. I mean, that little number bar line right there says so much. It says so much stuff in there. And when we understand that content, it's like, wow, you know, we know exactly where things are going, where they're coming from, and how relevant it is to deal with. So yeah, I love that. So hopefully that helps.
Yeah.
Great question though. I mean, this is, you know, it looks the same, doesn't it? You know, it's negative, positive,
Yeah.
percentages. Okay. Laura's asking, is there any plans to fortify the plastic clips? Yes, already done. Right, Jake? The cabinets, the new
Yeah,
cabinet.
it's been, I don't know how long now, well over a year, maybe close to 2 years that we've switched to a metal design. So there are no longer any plastic clips in place there. If you were to buy a new Healy device, or if your other Healy device is out of warranty and you need to get a new one, and pay the fee replacement, not the full price, just that $365 fee replacement, it would be one with a metal clip that you receive. So
Yeah, they are you know, they are different. They do have a metal clip on them. So
yeah, I mean, I'm actually still, this is my original Healy from more than 3 years ago. It's still plastic clip one. It's going strong. But yeah, if you were to get a new one, it does have the metal clip.
same with mine. But I have the tab attached to mine so I can hang
Okay,
it
yeah,
together. But I do have also the plastic clip that still goes to it.
yeah.
As well as another one that has the plastic clip still intact. But you know, putting it on a very thick garment or something like that is definitely a lot of stress on that plastic clip. So I can see where, you know, they can fail. I don't know. Are you guys, so in terms of that plastic clip, if somebody's hasn't damaged the cabinet, is there still plastic clips available for replacement? Do you know?
We do have some, but it's so rare now that we get that request. So typically it's,
Yeah.
someone purchasing a new one, if it's out of warranty, you get that, brand new one with a new 2-year warranty as well if you go through that fee replacement process.
Well, it might be worth it submitting a ticket, Laura, if there's something, if you did break a clip, but it hasn't damaged the cabinet.
Yeah.
Here's the cabinet itself. I call this the casing, the cabinet. where the pin goes in and locks into the cabinet, if those pins, if that hole has been ripped out, then you can't fix it. But if the holes are still intact, you can put a new plastic clip in there using the pin and you're back in business, right? So, so it might be worth submitting a ticket if you can get a clip. All right. What else do we got here? So let's see. Vernice says that there's a client that got an error message saying, oh, we already said that one. Hopefully that's all taken care of.
Yeah.
Vernice says also, wow, awesome, Ken, you can build anything. Well, you know, I don't do a lot with glass as far as blowing glass or making glass. I know there's so cool talent, but I can make things out of almost anything else. Wood, metal, fiberglass, I don't know, whatever. I often say when we're talking about this kind of stuff, guys, when we understand the principles of things, the principles of how Healy works, that's why I talked about the 3 modalities when we talk about microcurrent, we're talking about the coil or magnetics, and we're talking about the information field. If we understand the principles of that, we can apply it anywhere in our lives. So kind of like being your own engineer. And I like to teach people how to be their own engineer, AKA epigeneer. You're epigenetically changing you, right, by information you know. I'll give you a little aha moment. Have you ever had an aha moment? Anybody ever had an aha moment? Well, guess what? The second you have an aha moment, you're not the same person. You know something new. That's epigenetics in its finest, right? So there you go. Let's see. So Kathy says here, I have separate phone devices for my Healy's, easier for me while using Healy's. Absolutely. I mean, I have a couple of slave devices. You don't have to have like internet. I mean, a phone line or phone number, just so long as you can get on the Wi-Fi. You can still use an old mobile device, right? Smart device to operate your Healy's. Now, the key thing is that it will handle the proper lowest version of the operating system needed for the apps. The lowest version of the operating system needed for the apps. And you can always find that, by the way, in the requirements section in your app store. So when you go to your app store and you're going to download an app, it's going to tell you what hardware you need or what version of software with your operating system. If it's an iPhone, the iOS, or if it's an Android, it is what version of that operating system. Healy is currently 11.0 as far as an operating system on both those platforms with these apps. So you have an old device you want to use separately, you know, go for it. Okay. Vernice is asking, Ken, do you wear or run your Healy 24/7? No. No.
23/7? 23/7, Ken?
23/6. No.
Okay.
No, I do not. So I practice a system called hedonic calendaring. Hedonic calendaring is where we schedule certain times in our month, our week, our day, where we omit all of these typical practices. How many of you guys have like a system, right? Every morning I do X, Y, and Z in this order, right? Every week I do this many workouts. I do this much nutrition. I do this much water. I do this, I do that, right? So there's these routines. And how do we know if we've outgrown something, or how do we know the effectiveness of something that we're doing presently? We don't know until we omit it. So I do what's called hedonic calendaring. I omit everything. I omit everything and give my body a reset break. And I typically take 2 days off a week from Healy. Any energy infusion, I usually take about 2 days off a week, and let my body do some kind of reset. Every single day I do some grounding, some kind of grounding though, in addition to that. So there's certain practices that we want to bring our body back in balance with our earth, with our Mother Earth, right? With the vibration, not just the vibration or frequency of the earth, but also with the anti-oxidation by grounding your body with the earth, touching the dirt with your bare skin. I know I'm if I go outside and do that right now, it's frozen. But
Yeah.
even snow is conductive, people, so there's no excuse.
That's a great point, because also, you know, even from Healy Corporate, we don't recommend that you use it every single day. They take off at least 1 day per week, and that's why also the new Healy demo experience that was launched a few months ago, it's a 7-day journey for anyone going through this thing, but you're only running programs on 6 of the days. It's not all 7 days that you're running a program. So yeah, Ken's mentioned he takes 2 days off. You know, definitely take at least 1 day off per week.
And listen to your body. I mean, it is the divine intelligence. I don't know that we pay enough attention. I really pay close attention to my body, but I don't know if as a standard we pay a close attention to our body, because how many of you guys ever have been feeling bad, feeling sore, feeling defeated, and you just push on anyway, right? You're not listening to your body to say, your body's trying to tell you, take a break, please. And you're going, no, we got to get this done. We got to go. That's not healing. That's not healing at all. By listening to our body, if it's a chronic condition, then we need to figure out what we're doing wrong. But there's going to be times when the body is not done healing and needs extra pampering, and we need to listen to that. Okay, so let's go ahead.
There was a question. Henry put a tip in there in the chat, but it was interesting one. I never had one. Rachel has a client that doesn't show up in the list. So like in the Analyse 2 app, when you're looking through the client list, it doesn't show up if you're scrolling through it, but when she searches for it, it pops up at that point. So Henry mentioned, trying to maybe just change the name quickly and then change it back, something like that, to see if it sort of triggers it. I'm wondering if this was a client that was imported into the new Analyse app from the old one, and possibly something happened with the import as well. But yeah, she doesn't want to lose any of the current history with the new Analyse 2 app. But yeah, I suppose you could try just changing the name and then changing it back, and then but that saving of that process might sort of make it appear again.
Yeah, when you open the new Analyse 2 app, you'll see the little rain down, right? That's it synchronizing with the cloud. So everything, it's trying to do an upload of content and download of content, aka synchronizing. So something is corrupt within the content of that client. Well, actually, it's not really the content of the client, because that's still there because you can search it manually.
Yeah.
But the indexing of the app, indexing it so you can see it just by going to the ABC list, there's something wrong with that indexing. That sounds like an app issue. That's something with the app. And have you tried deleting the app and reinstalling it? Because I know you don't want to. Every time you open the app, remember, it's synchronizing your client lists. So it's there in the cloud. But if you delete the app, and as I mentioned before, hard shut down your device after you delete it, then turn your device back on, and then go to your app store, reinstall the app again, and then synchronize and see if that takes care of that indexing issue with that one client. Because yeah, if you can search it manually and they come up, then because that's a different way in which the app seeks the data versus just the display when you're showing everybody. But I've never heard of that. So no. Okay. Let's see. So thanks for all your questions, you guys. This is awesome. Rachel's got another one here. It says, okay, about mixing types of frequency deliveries. If I run microcurrents with cables and run Healy with the coil, do these interfere with one another? Is it potentially beneficial to run, say, harmony in the eyes in bioenergetic harmony on one device while running the harmony in eyes in digital nutrition? So yeah, so this is, we've done some of the, I've talked about this before. I call it the dueling Healys, the dual Healys, because your body is the intelligence. Remember, like I said, it sorts out things properly, right? If you drink a whole bunch of water, you just keep drinking a whole bunch of water, right? What's going to happen? you're going to get to a point where the body's going to say, bleh, you're no more, right? It's just to say, you won't be able to force yourself to drink any more water, right? And then it's going to start eliminating, right? And then you're going to go eliminate and eliminate and eliminate, eliminate, right? So it's not like you're going to turn into a big old water balloon. That's not going to happen. The body's going to regulate itself. Same thing with the frequencies. Your body's going to regulate itself. Now, you can overdo it. And the worst kind of symptom regarding overdoing frequency or infusion like this is something like a detox symptom, because when we're aligning our body and we're doing it rapidly and abundantly, when we're doing it a lot and quick, then the body's going to try to shed off what doesn't fit this new frequency of us, right? Remember I said the aha moment? The aha moment that you have instantly upregulates your entire nervous system. The old belief structure you had is eliminated, right? You now know new stuff, and the aha moment upregulated everything about you. So these frequencies are doing the same thing. It's going to get rid of what no longer fits or what it's been trying to align, AKA detox. And so too much might feel like, let me tell you what it feels like. If you've ever done a cleanse or a detox or say a deep tissue massage, you'll know what I'm talking about. The therapist that's doing a deep tissue massage is always going to tell you hydrate, 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 hydrate before, and then hydrate, 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 hydrate after, because it is that system of elimination that gets rid of the toxic burden in your body. And so when mechanically the massage moves those toxins out of your tissues, it goes right back into your blood system, into your bloodstream. And it is your bloodstream that eliminates it. If you're not properly hydrated, all your blood system is trying to just simply maintain your body as opposed to get rid of toxins. And so those toxins wind up getting deposited back into the muscles and the joints. And so you wind up with headaches, you wind up with muscle aches, you wind up with stiffness, and this is a detox kind of symptom. So if you're experiencing that, you're doing too much. Now, I do 2 Healys often, and I like to do synergistic because I'm going to talk about the fitness page, because let's say that you're running a microcurrent using the program called Muscle while you're exercising. At the same time, you've got your Healy clip to your collar with the coil running the program from the fitness page called Strength. So I want you to understand 3% of the genetic code that writes every cell structure in your body, skin, muscle, bone, brain, whatever, is fixed. 3% says it's going to be a bone cell, skin cell, muscle cell. 97% of that genetic code is adaptive, reading the environment. And the environment, the external environment of the cell, is the internal environment of your body. And when you're giving it frequencies, 97% of that genetic code is being infused by that information. And what's the information? Strength, right? It's a magnetic signal called strength. At the same time, a microcurrent signal called muscle. So you're energizing muscle, giving it a very distinct genetic signal or magnetic signal to become an expression of strong muscle, right? So when you're looking at eyes, there's nothing wrong with going eyes from one page and eyes from another, but what about eyes and clarity, right? What about bundling things? I mean, Healy loves to bundle stuff. Speaking of bundles, we got some great deals going on right now. Little plug for sales. But Healy, we can bundle things like that. So then when you set the Mag Healy next to you, now you're getting a trifecta, right?
Yep.
Your body will sort it out.
And related a little bit to what you were just talking about with the coil and the magnetic frequency. So there was a question that came directly to me, but the question was, does the Healy coil operate the same as if it's inside of a shirt pocket versus clipped to the outside of a shirt? So does the fact that it's not exposed or you can't see it affect the performance of what the coil is trying to do? It's a great question.
I love this question because, and here's the thing I want to relate it to. Nikola Tesla said that the moment that we start to study, or science starts to study the non-physical, will be the time in which we make more advancements in science in 1 decade than we have in the entire history of science. Non-physical. So because we can't see it doesn't mean it's not happening, right? Right? If you close your eyes and you can't see anything, does it mean it's not there? No, it's still there, but it's still happening. So magnetic energy, one thing about frequency, the only thing that deters frequency is matter. And so if your cloth is made of metal, or I should say, when I say matter, conductive matter.
Uh,
Conductive matter is different. So if it's metal, then yes, it's going to have an influence. If it's lead, if it's copper, if it's, I don't know if anybody who wears a metal, it may be a knight in the shining armor,
yeah, if you're at the dentist getting X-rays and they put a metal lead thing on it.
a lead vest,
Yeah.
right? The lead
Yeah.
vest is definitely going to deter the signal, but inside your pocket, outside your pocket, down your shirt, it's not going to make a difference. I mean, it's not going to make any difference. The frequencies are still going to, their magnetic energies, and cloth has no, it has no influence. Now, cloth that is, like, have you guys ever heard of grounding mats or grounding sheets, or grounding pillowcases? Those have conductive materials woven into the cloth. Now they're going to have an influence on magnetic flow. Okay. But you're not wrapped in a grounding sheet, right? And even then, those cloths, there's one strand per space, right? It's not, the whole thing is not conductive. So you'll still get magnetic energy even through those. But I mean, your regular wear, your clothing is not going to have a problem. Yeah. I love that question though. Now I want to also address, if you're wearing an EMF blocker, right? You've got these necklaces and these jewelries and these things. And if it's an EMF blocker, what's its design? It's supposed to block EMF. What is EMF? Electromagnetic force. What is Healy sending out via the coil? Electromagnetic force. And so an EMF blocker will have an effect. All right. I suggest, if you're trying to gain the maximum effectiveness from your Healy while you're running that program, don't use your EMF blockers. If it's something that's really detrimental to your health, when you don't have the EMF blocker, take a look at your environment. Please look at your environment, because something in your environment is creating that to where you can't operate without the EMF blocker. And I understand that, but Healy is also trying to help you out, and it's kind of counterproductive. Okay. So great questions, Crystal, by the way, or Rachel, by the way. Crystals. I had crystals on my brain. So with crystals, so there's some that amplify and some that absorb radiation. So choose accordingly. This question, you're absolutely right. There are some, well, they all do that, right? They all do, they do what's called a constructive or destructive interference patterns, right? All frequency, well, let's just put it this way. All things are energy. The variations are simply the frequency that they oscillate at. The closer to density, or the closer to matter, the slower the frequency, right? The chair you're sitting on, the desk you're sitting at, the hardware around your body. All of that is density. The skin cells vibrate a little bit faster than that. Pure energy has a very high frequency. So when you are running things with a Healy, the part of the Healy's job is to find resonance with you. And if you've got crystals all over your body, it's trying to find resonance with you in that current point of space and time, and then come up from the arsenal of frequencies within that program, the ones specific to align you right now. So whether you're wearing crystals or not, whether they're absorbing or amplifying, Healy's still going to seek resonance and alignment with that whole you, the whole you. and your area. So if you got somebody on your lap, if you're sitting on a big crystal, I mean, whatever it is, it's looking at the whole you. Okay. So, and again, I'm always the kind of person that says, I'm a do, evaluate, course correct kind of person, right? A lot of times I will initiate and then I'm like, okay, how'd that go? Course correct. All right, you guys. Any last questions that you want to hit, Jake?
I think we're a little bit past time here, but yeah,
Yeah.
we'll be covering a lot on Healy for Beginners and Beyond this Thursday, 3 p.m. Eastern. So definitely join us. The link to register, if you have not already, is healyfbb.com. That'll take you right to the Zoom meeting to register. And yeah, it's, for those of you that want to join us for What's Up Wednesday tomorrow, please do so. That call is at 1 p.m. Eastern, and that's healyWUW.com. Thank you, Ken, for putting the link into the chat there. But yeah, we'll, of course, anyone that missed today's call wants to review all the information that we covered. These recordings of these calls are on our YouTube channel at HealyAmericas.com. Takes you right to the Healy World Americas channel on YouTube. Typically within 48 hours, a lot of times recently, much sooner, thanks to Caroline on our team that does a great job putting these up there, but definitely lots to review and go back. But yeah, definitely, if you can, join us live for Healy for Beginners and Beyond on Thursday. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
100%. Okay, guys, if you guys want to, thanks, Jake, by the way, if you want to save the chat right down there in the little area where you type in your content next to the smiley face, there's 3 little dots. Click on those 3 little dots. If you're on your laptop or your PC, you can click on save chat. And at the end of this call, there'll be a little prompt that comes up and you can save this chat and this content right to your hard drive. All right, guys, thanks for being here. Big loves. Thank you, Jake. Thank you, Henry. Much love and peace. See you next week.